Hello and welcome to today's episode of Filling the Gap, your one-stop shop for Pacers Gap Year coverage. I'm your host, Andrew Schreiner, and don't look now, but the Indiana Pacers have their first winning streak of the season. They won their second consecutive game to bring their total on the season to 4 over the Chicago Bulls, 103 to 101, as, if I don't come across as too excited or too arrogant here, as I predicted, 2 in a row on the back-to-back, taking care of the Bulls to make it 2 in a row. It was an interesting game, really interesting game. The Pacers ended up winning a thriller. I'm sure some of you have seen the highlight. Pascal made a really tough shot. They were sending a double team at him. He managed to make mid-range shot, sort of similar to the ones they've lost on against Milwaukee and Toronto most recently. But this time it was the Pacers making the big shot. Game was 101 to tied at 101, and with 0.1 seconds left on the clock, Pascal Siakam makes the killer. It was a good night. Like I said, a really interesting night. So I'm going to just go look at the play-by-play here a little bit. Beginning and end, the Pacers started the game with a 14-point explosion from Jay Huff. He scored the Pacers' first 14 points of the game. He was 3 for 3 from 3, 4 to 5 from 3 by the end. He had a putback as well. He would actually finish the night with 14 points. So he had all of his points in the first 3 minutes and 42 seconds of the game. He did, however, chip in 4 blocks as well. He's now the NBA's block leader, blocks per game, and he's well in front in blocks per minute, having played significantly fewer minutes than Wemby, who is second, I believe, in blocks. He is starting to settle in. And I know I've said that over the last few games. On the offensive end, he's starting to look a lot better. He also had 8 rebounds. It was a great night from Jay Huff. He's starting to fit. He's starting to mesh. He had a goaltend late that ended up getting overturned. It seemed pretty obvious looking at the replays that it was not. So that was a big call late in the game. So after that explosion from Jay Huff to start, the game became very, very choppy, especially in the second half. The Pacers led for much of the middle part of the game, but they ended up only scoring 17 points in the fourth quarter, and they had only scored 4 points through the first, I want to say, about 7 minutes of the fourth quarter. So it was a really ugly, really choppy start, but they managed to come up big when they needed it. And so, and really it was Pascal Siakam down the finish. He chipped in several big shots, including the game winner, as we talked about. But the Bulls only scored 4 points in the final 4 minutes of the game. So it was a great defensive effort. And really, that's several games in a row now that the Pacers are winning games more so on the defensive end, or at least competing defensively, even games they didn't win. But the defense was looking a lot tougher, a lot more a lot more stout. And so that seems like this year that may be, especially right now, the Pacers' ticket to wins, that they're more of a defensive first team, which is quite the change. And they have slowed down the pace. Rick Carlisle talked about that after the game. He said the pace we need to play at right now, meaning slower, right? It's not what they want to play in the long term, but right now what this team needs is to win dogfights rather than shootouts, it seems. So we're hoping, obviously, that this momentum can roll forward, but the sledding does get tougher for the Pacers. So they're in the middle of a 4-game homestand. Next up on Monday night, they take on the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have already handled the Pacers pretty solidly in that NBA Cup matchup, 120 to 109. And that was pretty reflective of the team's season so far. Cleveland is averaging 119 essentially. The Pacers are averaging 110 per game essentially. And so it was pretty indicative. However, the Pacers actually might be catching a bit of a break as far as the injury report goes, because the Cavaliers, at least as far as their big players, are going to be missing Lonzo Ball, who played a huge role in that first win. Darius Garland is out. He had a huge first half against the Pacers. Jarrett Allen is out. Larry Nance Jr. is out. And so perhaps the Pacers can take advantage of a wounded Cleveland team and make it 3 in a row. Cleveland is also on a 3-game losing streak. They've fallen now to 12-9. That's after the win against the Pacers. And so it's possible that the Pacers stand a chance to steal another win to make it their 3rd in a row. I think it's very doable. I think they can get one of these two. After that, they finish up the homestand with a matchup against the Nuggets, and I expect them to win one and lose one. I'm not sure which, though now I'm starting to think it will be this Cleveland game that they managed to nab and then probably lose against Denver. But I will be back with a breakdown of the Cleveland game. So thank you for watching today's episode. Just a shorter update off the back-to-back. And so please like this video, please subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.